Welcome to a very special presentation here on the Parchive channel. I'm Tom Corliss. The reason we're releasing these videos to you now is this marks the 1-year anniversary of the closure of MuppetVision 3D at Disney's Hollywood Studios. If you're anything like me, it's been an emotional year missing this attraction, one of the greatest of all time and arguably one that never should have been removed. But 1 year ago, we had a tremendous honor to host several individuals from both the Jim Henson company side and the Walt Disney Company side who came together to create this indelible attraction. And what we're releasing today is all 4 of those presentations. So you're about to watch one of 4 presentations from that very special event that we called a glorious 3-day finale. And we hope you enjoy that. Now, if you enjoy these presentations, I want to let you know about a very big event and similar event we have coming up that's not focused on a single attraction, but a wide array of Disney attractions and parks all around the world. That event is called Way Back Wed, and it's happening October 2nd and 3rd at Disney's Contemporary Resort. This will be our largest ever gathering of Disney Imagineers and creatives from over the years. And we're going to talk about all sorts of topics from the Hall of Presidents, the American Adventure, Electrical Water Pageant, Main Street Electrical Parade, so many amazing topics. We have the Women of Walt Disney Imagineering. We're going to be signing their book. Bob Weiss, former president of WDI. The list goes on and on and on. You can see all the names, in fact, at waybackwed.com. But tickets are running out fast, especially our VIP package, which is nearly sold out. So this might be the last chance you get to pick up those tickets. But again, October 2nd and 3rd at Disney's Contemporary Resort in the legendary Ballroom of the Americas. We're going to have this event, and registration is open now. Now, you do have to be a WIGS member to register. So to do that, you have to go to patreon.com/WDWNT. Now, the good news is we've introduced a free tier of the WIGS program, so it doesn't cost you anything extra to register for the event. Now, if you do want a discount on your event registration, you can join at a paid level, and as you rise through the paid levels, the discount does increase, so keep that in mind. So with that said, we hope you enjoy this visit back to a glorious 3-day finale and the closure of MuppetVision 3D, and we hope we'll see you at our next event. Enjoy the show.
I'm Josh. I'm your host for this, the second part of our journey through MuppetVision 3D. I'm joined today by people who are infinitely more talented than I will ever be.
No, come on.
No.
Don't
fine.
start. Don't make us be talented.
No, we gotta.
That's
So
gonna be hard.
what I like to do is I start with a self-deprecating lawyer joke.
Gotcha.
And it gets it out of the way.
Okay.
And then it allows me to introduce people like Steve Whitmire.
Okay.
On my right. I didn't get that applause.
Are you a lawyer?
For fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanna know.
I'm a panel host as a day job.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on my left, producer impresario Rita Peruggi. In Italian, 2 G's is like a J, Peruggi. There's a lesson I learned today.
Huh.
And effects extraordinaire Fred Buchholz.
Got it.
Who I got to spend a joyous 20 minutes earlier today talking about some of my favorite scenes from some of my favorite Muppet productions. But we're going to start by talking about how did this come together? It's 15 days worth of shooting on MuppetVision 3D, right? And all of you, you were all there. Do you all remember being there?
Vaguely.
I think we all been looking at each other like, what are we going to talk about?
Well, I'm going to start by pulling back the camera a little bit and doing that soft fade into how did we get to each of you being in that room in that studio for 15 days. Steve, how did your Muppet journey begin?
Well, let's see. It probably started when I was about 6 years old. And truly, because I was a kid when Jim was doing Rolf on the Jimmy Dean Show. And I used to, black and white TV, I used to beg my parents to let me stay up late to watch Rolf. And they did. And you guys know Rolf has this big black mouth, you know, especially on a black and white TV. And I always imagined that was a big hole, and that's how I knew it was a puppet, but these guys they must be how they get into it. You know, they have to go in through the mouth. But, you know, long story short, I mean, I was before there was an internet, I was an internet Muppet fan like so many people in here, and only there was no internet. So you just waited around until the next thing was going to happen. I just became totally obsessed with the characters about the time Sesame Street happened. I was 10 years old, and started trying to build my own puppets, and I wrote a letter to Jim when I was 10, and said, I was looking for a job. I just said, have you written any books on puppet making? Because I'd like to make them. And he actually wrote back, which was incredible. And he directed me to these Muppet patterns that were out there in the world. I started making my own. I was the nerdy puppet guy through high school. And then I met Carol Spinney, who was Big Bird, at an Atlanta puppetry festival in 1978. Jim was already doing the Muppet Show. And Carol kind of talked to Jim and said, here's this young kid. I was only 18. And you should, you know, take a look at him. Jim was looking for a couple of new people to come in at that point during the Muppet Show time. And I think when I look back on it, I think he was gearing up for Dark Crystal. And so Kathy Mullen, who did Kira, and I came in at the same time. Anyway, and so long story short, too late. We also did MuppetVision 3D after about 12 years.
And when you say we, you shared some things with me that really...
I didn't do it all myself.
Well,
yeah. So it was a we.
You shared some things with me earlier that were devastating.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told you that.
It turns out that the Muppets aren't actors, that there's some sort of manipulation and performance aspect to that.
However, I will tell you in truth, and the honest statement, in my mind, they were the actors. It was very important to me that they were entities in the world, you know. And I think that's why, when I look back on it, why I was probably drawn to them to begin with. Because you know, when you watched Kermit or any of the characters in those early days, you were really seeing the guy or gal, I don't know whether that's PC to say gal, came out. But underneath, you were seeing through this character. And my impression has always been that in those early days, when the Muppets went on variety shows, they were sort of an act that went on variety shows. The Muppets actually almost referred to the people more than to the characters. You know, it was an act. It was these guys who did things with these amazing puppets. So to me, that is really the origin of the Muppets, were these 3 or 4 people who were doing it, you know.
Well, for the purposes of our MuppetVision 3D discussion, can you give me a sense of maybe who you were more familiar with than others?
You mean character-wise?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I was familiar with the ones I was working with.
Who were you doing?
Working with.
Working with?
Yeah, I did Rizzo, which was a character that I came up with years before that, with the help of... however, I guess Rizzo's not actually in the movie. He's in the pre-show, right? Yeah, you guys remember this better than I do. And Bean Bunny, we did that together. And whatever else I was asked to do. Like I probably stood in for... you know, Sam in the background when Frank was doing Piggy or something like that, you know. We did some of the little soldier guys on the side, you know, they were shooting arrows, and we all chipped in and did it. It was a real ensemble cast, and we just did whatever Jim said, go do that.
You forgot Waldo.
Oh, Waldo, yeah, there was Waldo. I forgot about Waldo.
Don't forget Waldo.
I don't want to forget Waldo.
No. The world might soon, but...
Yeah, well... Oh, Debbie Downer.
You know, tomorrow is coming, everyone. It's coming. Insert evil laugh. Rita.
Yes.
You had a really hard job.
I had a really hard job.
It was producer.
Yeah, I was Jim's producer. I was really lucky.
And I still don't really know what a producer does other than they get to be near the top of the credits. Can you?
Well, the producers do a lot of different things. On this, I was Jim's producer, so I got to do all the hard things that he didn't want to deal with. Whether that be money or go talk to somebody or, but I got to take a ride. I mean, I had been with the company.
Does that mean adulting?
I was the adult in the room, yes. Or I pretended to be an adult in the room. But I had been working with the company since 1981, and most of the things that I had worked on, I had done a lot of things, but I worked on specials. But one of the things I did with him, I had worked on the Jim Henson Hour, which was like a big deal. Obviously, I was an associate producer on it. So I was getting more and more experience, but what I did with Jim is he would always want to test a new thing or do some other weird, whatever idea he had. He had a few days off, let's shoot a pilot. So I would do that. And I was involved with him with the Jim Henson Hour and in the development of Waldo. So I had all these weird tech experiences with him. So I think that's how I got to be the producer for him. Because there were other people there that produced for Jim, because there were not that many. You know, he had like maybe two or three people. Since it was going to be in LA, it afforded me an opportunity to, this was this huge heady time. Jim was selling the company. We were meeting with Disney, and I'm going to be one of the producers for Jim moving forward. And it was this great experience for me, because here I am, a producer, having to be like, okay, we can't afford this or that I felt like, wow, we're a kid in a candy store, and everything that we're coming up with. I mean, I came on it after, I guess maybe there was an outline and some ideas. I wasn't in the original, sitting down. I talked to Alex and Bill about the development, but Bill spoke to how he wrote it quite eloquently and where he was doing the things. So, I would have these meetings, and then Jim would want to have these ideas. So I was in all of those meetings, and it was just a great opportunity to work with Imagineering, because they could create these ideas. And so I was sitting next to somebody who was like, you want to be that fly on the wall? I was that fly on the wall watching this all happen and just really experiencing it.
So you got to be the one that spent all the money, and then
I
poor
got to be the
Paul
one-
had to put crates and barrels everywhere.
Something like that.
Yeah. No, it's 30 years on. Just
Something
donate.
like that. I mean, we got to shoot 15 days, and Jim was really excited about the fact of what can we put into this movie, and the 3D, to be able to actually have the full 3D. I mean, they don't shoot 3D like that. We'd have to put glass. We had a daily setup on the stage, next to the stage every day, so that we could put on our 3D glasses and watch the dailies the next day. And
Were they pink?
were they pink? I don't know. I don't remember. They weren't those pink
tell me
ones.
they were pink.
weren't. No,
Just-
they were. Maybe they were pink.
Okay, let's keep that.
I don't
mythology.
remember that. But we had to wear them and do that. But it was the combination of 3D and wanting to do not a whole movie. He wasn't really interested in doing a whole movie, just to have fun and have those effects, have it be simple effects, have some kind of not so simple effects. Waldo is not so simple. In theater effects, animatronic effects, and a live character in the theater. All those things combined was he's really excited about that. So it was fun to try to put all those pieces together.
And Fred, where did your Muppet journey start before you get to your cheap 3D tricks?
Okay. Well, I come from a theater background, and I was working in New York doing lighting design, which was my passion and building models for Broadway shows for the set designers. And one evening I went to a piano recital. This is a strange story, but there was a woman knitting a small sweater, and I said, "Who's that sweater for?" And she said, "Miss Piggy." Miss Piggy. And she said she worked at the Muppets. This was Polly Smith, the costume designer.
Wow.
And she said, "Well, we're doing a movie now, Muppets Take Manhattan, and they need someone who can build small props." And I said, "Well, I build small models, I can build small props." So I went the next day and had an interview and got hired and stayed for 20 years.
Wow.
So. I first started building props and was under Carolee Wilcox, who ran Sesame Street and other things. And soon Foz Fazakis, who did the radio-controlled and mechanical parts of the Muppets, saw basically my craftsmanship and my work and asked me to come to work in his department. And then later, Jim found that I had done special effects in the theater, like practical effects, explosions, and that sort of thing. And Jim and Frank loved explosions. So I was asked to do those effects as well. So I had a number of skills that were valuable to the Muppets. So I continued to build props, do radio-controlled and puppet mechanisms, and do practical special effects.
And blow things up.
And blow things up, yeah, which I had a lot of fun blowing things up. And this project, I guess it started with getting a script and storyboards and seeing all the 3D effects and the practical 3D effects. And they started out as being very simple. This is one of very cheap 3D effects in the movie. And I did the squirting flower and the bubbles, which we can talk about, and also doing the radio control. So when Kermit's on the ladder on the fire truck coming out at you, that's a radio control version of the puppet. So Jim, we were talking about the Waldo was controlling the mitt, the head, and I was doing some of the controls on the waist as well, working together on that.
Right, and I think this is a great time to hear from Jim himself about what MuppetVision was in terms of not just storytelling, but a nexus of storytelling and technology that really took Muppeteering to the next level, but also a themed entertainment experience to the next level. Do we have that clip? Cool, let's roll it.
Computer animation has been around for a while, and it's getting better and better every year. I love what's being done with it. But it is mostly being done like animation, where it's worked in 24 frames a second and the scene is blocked out. And what we're trying to do with it is perform it live like a puppet, so you can capture real performance, a dramatic performance.
Maybe I can do it. Yeah. I'll figure it out. You know, when you're coming forward, don't you hate it when your nose runs? Where do you do that? Don't you hate it when your nose runs? Can you do that? Don't you hate it when your nose runs? Oh, that's hard. Yeah, yeah.
This is the end.
All right. Maybe you got 3/4 speed. Sparkler!
Oh, this way, right there. That was fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize for a slight technical difficulty. I do wish to assure you that no one's been hurt and there's been only very slight damage to the theater. Thank you very much for coming to see this demonstration of MuppetVision technology. So enjoy the rest of your stay and please come see us again.
And the young Steve.
I still have that shirt.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible? What did they do wrong?
Oh, it's just the performance, the truck, everything is awful.
See, that's as good as we do.
Oh.
That was Dave Gold
3D,
saying.
it's an interesting
really didn't work.
process, and I have not
Is that the
worked
best
in
you
it
can
before,
do?
but I really
And
am
he was just
enjoying
putting
it.
Jim
we
on,
looked at
and
a
it
lot
was,
of 3D films to try to see what works. And when we originally set up to do this, what we wanted to do was try to figure out all the 3D gimmicks that you can do and then figure out a way to put them all into one short film. I considered shooting a Muppet movie in 3D a couple of years ago. And at that time, I looked at all the processes. First of all, I realized that this process that Disney uses is the best one. I think this gives you the best 3D that's done. But the other thing I found was that I don't want to see a whole movie in 3D. You know, when you sit in an audience and you put on the glasses, all you want is the effects that can happen. And so it's ideal for a short film. And I think it's not particularly good to do a feature in this stuff. Well, we're designing effects that will happen in the theater also. And so, yes, we're working out a way to include bubbles in the theater, and we're sprinkling the audience with water at some point, and then we're doing, hopefully, wind and lights. And so there are a lot of different kinds of things where this thing is woven between the film itself and the effects around. You know, they're talking to Statler and Waldorf, there'll be animatronic on the side, Sweetums walks out into the audience. So there's a lot of planning in that sense. From a 3D standpoint, it's interesting because what you do is you plan where the surface of the screen is supposed to be so that anything that pokes out at the audience, it's called the convergence there where the screen is. And so we plan that very carefully for a shot. And when things poke out at the audience, that's fun. This is good 3D. And also at the same time, we're shooting with two cameras. In order to make this effect of something poking out at you effective, we widen the two eyes, right at that point. So we widen the eyes and we go back together again. And I don't think anybody's ever done this before in a 3D film. It's a new development that this camera makes possible.
It's working.
Oh, yes, very much so. We're working, because we're working with the Disney people in producing the film, and at the same time we're also working with the Imagineering guys that are designing the theater and the special effects within the theater. So everybody has to be involved from the very beginning. We all have to realize what each other is doing. So it's working very nicely. Yeah, I think that's all true. Sometimes, I love working with my team of people that I've worked with for many years because I act more like a shepherd than a director. You just kind of point them all in the right direction, and they discover stuff. And very often we were doing a setup yesterday, and I really didn't know how this was going to work. And just by starting rehearsing it, and the whole shape of the shot grew because they all contributed to it. So it's a lot of talent all coming together and focusing on this moment and making it better and better. I just kind of lead the group along, but they get to be funny, because computer animation has been around for a while, and it's getting better and better every year. I love what's being done with it, but it is mostly being done like animation, where it's worked in 24 frames a second and the scene is blocked out. And what we're trying to do with it is perform it live like a puppet, so you can capture real performance, a dramatic performance, and because. The idea of animation, 24 frames a second, is a very kind of, it's a thought process, it's a head trip, where a performance is more from your guts. And so what we're trying to do is, I think, by performing it in real time, you get a more real performance in terms of the character.
That's a pretty good mission statement for us to bounce off of now. Steve, what do you remember from those 15 days of actual production, of making MuppetVision 3D as it existed?
Well, it's tough. I was saying to Rita and Fred earlier today, because all of us I think pictures are popping back into our heads. I don't know, for me it's little snapshots of moments.
That's an interesting point. We should bring up some snapshots of moments. Can we?
Well, there you segue. We didn't even plan it. What did we do? I mean, yeah, there was that, and then there was that. And there was this.
That was
Oh,
a good
yeah.
one.
I don't remember those guys' names, but they were around a lot. Dave without his beard, that was a shock to us all. See, I'm wearing a different clothing there. So how many times did we
was
shoot
that?
this, Fred?
I don't know.
That is weird.
I know. The other one I was wearing like some
We
weird
didn't do it. We
pukey
only did
green
it
thing.
once.
Anyway, who knows? Yeah, there we go. I want a Frank's shirt. What is that about?
I don't know. It was in L.A.
That's back now, I think.
That way, yeah. My hair. What was that about? Yeah. Wow. Hole in the wall. Yeah, we shot all this in L.A., right? At
Yeah.
the Disney Studios.
On the Disney
On the
Studios.
Disney
It
lot.
was on a
yeah.
lot. Yeah, it looks like we're in the theme park there, but we aren't.
Yeah, Jim very much wanted to do it on the lot because he wanted people to be able to stop by and see how the Muppets work.
Yeah.
So it was like an open set for Disney employees, if they were on the lot, to come by and just see how we worked.
Well, that's right, yeah, because this was the beginning of what
This is
was
the big
meant to
thing.
be an ongoing
Yeah.
thing that was going, forever. We were all looking at buying houses in Orlando. We thought, we're going to be down there all the time.
So that's John Henson in Sweetums.
Yeah, that's right.
And he had to paddle ball. And I made a overscaled paddle for him, and he took it home and he practiced for weeks until he got it down and could do it blind, basically, because the vision was really poor outside of the
That was
costume.
incredible. We just
And-
kept waiting for it to screw up.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't.
But he did a great job.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we didn't, you guys know we didn't work really behind puppet walls, but we had that little, sometimes we would do things like that in order just to give us an indication, and also to give camera an indication of not to bend down any further, And that's where Fred and I got covered with a lot of soap.
So that was
That's good segue.
Yeah.
I love good segue, Fred.
Okay.
Take it away.
For me, that was the most difficult practical effect I've ever tried to accomplish. The idea was that Bean Bunny would take the bubble wand, dunk it in the container, and blow bubbles, and then we'd have wonderful bubbles to match it in the theater. Well, it didn't turn out to be so easy.
And I'm gonna interject just briefly to tell you how utterly simplistic I am. For all of my life, I have thought about Bean Bunny on that screen blowing bubbles, and I thought about him as a puppet, of course. I was like, oh yeah, Bean Bunny's a puppet, and then it stopped there. And I never really thought about how the puppet, Bean Bunny, could possibly hold a container of bubbles, raise a bubble wand to his puppet mouth, and cause enough air to form bubbles
It's his little puppet lungs.
with his bubble wand. And because I can see behind this Muppet wall here, you're about to do something that just blows my mind and destroys the innocence of my youth.
So it was Steve and I working together. Bean Bunny had a tube in his mouth, and I was down blowing through it to blow air through the bubble wand.
Right.
And this was a mechanical arm that Tom Newby built that was able to move, and you were able to dunk. It took a little pushing up to dunk this in here. I can't remember.
Which part did I do? I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't know how
What
we
did we do? What did we? So what does it do?
Well, just push
What's
that
that
thing.
for?
Well, that was
around the puppet.
That was
so it would have
sewn
been like
into the
that,
puppet.
right?
That's correct.
Okay. So now what happens?
Well, push that.
Oh, I see. So that's probably like a rest position.
Yeah.
Right? And you
And
go
then it went
up,
up.
But how did we dunk it?
Well, in this position, then basically we.
Oh, I
we
see.
did.
So we tried to do something
Yeah,
like
he
that.
leaned over.
While
That's
the
what
puppet's
happened.
trying to play a scene.
That's right. He leaned over.
So I would have been like this, I guess.
Yeah.
And then come back
and then
up.
lift up, and then
I
up
think
to the
maybe,
mouth.
Maybe it did something a little different back then.
Yeah, it might have. Up to the mouth.
It probably did that with another string or
Yeah.
something. And then I would open the mouth at the same time you would
Would
blow.
So it's
So we were
seems like a
legitimately
simple
trying to
idea.
make bubbles, right? It was
Correct, in live time. But what? But we were shooting in 70 millimeter, dual 70 millimeter, which were these two giant cameras, and it took a tremendous amount of light to light the set.
yeah.
And the temperature in the studio got very hot.
It was so
So, as much as I tested the bubbles back at the workshop and there on the rehearsal day, when we'd blow the bubbles, they would just like pop immediately. And I think it was due to the temperature difference between the air I was blowing inside the bubbles and the temperature of the room. I don't know my bubble physics that well. Although I tried many different bubble fluids and whatever.
Yeah.
So we worked for several hours, at the end of one day, trying to get the shot. It also was a long shot because in the 3D movie, we didn't want short segments that were edited together because it would be very jumpy to watch. So it was the sequence from Bean Bunny coming in, the butterfly, ending with Bean handing Piggy the tow rope for the water skiing.
It was a lot going on.
So there
in
was
the
a
same
lot
shot.
going on in
Yes.
one shot.
Yeah.
And the bubbles just kept popping. So Jim said, we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it. So we actually wrapped one day and then came back the next morning. And I heated up the bubble fluid thinking maybe if the bubble fluid's warmer
Oh, wow.
with the air, and tried different things. And we finally got a take that worked.
Yeah.
But it was
a kind of a nightmare, I think.
it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
And
Steve and I were both covered
lot of
with
soap.
bubble fluid. Just like
And
sticky,
Frank, I guess
soapy.
Frank was in Piggy during all that, I guess.
Yes.
He had to play Piggy.
Right.
He was probably
was
nice
getting
about it, but he was
tired,
probably
yeah.
done with it. You know?
Yeah, he was definitely done with
Yeah.
it. So that's the story of the bubbles.
Yes.
That sounds really hard.
It was
Yeah.
hard.
Rita,
But it's magical on screen, and nobody cares how hard
That's
it is.
right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
you weren't covered in bubble fluid, I assume.
No, I was sitting
What,
back.
what do you remember from those 15 days of sitting back and watching people struggle while counting?
I remember. I don't remember the problems, which is really interesting. I was telling Fred that I was like, wow, I don't remember thinking that we didn't get that shot. Or,
Oh, how funny.
It really felt like we got almost everything we wanted to get.
You don't have a rabbit arm that you carry
I
around?
don't have that arm. I don't have any
good luck.
special things. I remember Jim going, we had to do crew shirts, and so he sketched out the little Kermit crew shirt, and he'd hand it to, he was famous for like, okay, I got this idea, and he'd draw something up and then give it to you to give to somebody. So he'd give me, the idea of the crew shirt, and he handed it off, and he said, oh, have them clean this up, and let's do that for the crew. So I'll wear that tomorrow, I can wear that today. And I don't know, it was just kind of a good time.
Yeah,
it was.
We've met some new performers. I remember
Yeah.
us, Brian Henson did auditions for performers.
Yes, brought people in.
And we had a couple of new people that we then later worked with on
Yep,
Dinosaurs.
yep.
So that was kind of fun, and it was just like another day at work with the group that you had been working with a lot. We had come off of some series and were going off to do that, and so it was like another.
We were talking earlier and just saying, for us, this was the beginning of this incredible next step, in the world of the Muppets. Suddenly Jim's going to be this incredible creative force coming into Disney, and we're going to work all the time. It's going to be great fun, and it really was that feeling of pretty much any idea you wanted to do, there were people who were going to be able to make that work. And, there was ways to finance it, and it was going to all come together. And so the 3D film itself, in many ways, I think to me, just felt like this is just another thing we're doing. We'll be doing 2 more things next week, and, nobody knew it was going to be that last big thing, And of course, I think the last thing we did with Jim was the special at Walt Disney World, I believe. That was after this. But still, we were just going to keep going,
I was explaining to Steve, like, the other things that I remember, because I was always having to think ahead. So, we were planning on, we had gone, I was reminding Steve, we had gone to Imagineering.
Right.
They had brought out, he was really interested in the animatronics and in the theater and what could we do there. And we're thinking about the Penguin Orchestra and that we were going to be able to record and play back the puppeteers' performance all the time.
Yeah.
So this was really exciting to him. So we were at Flower Street, and we got to see what did you the Joe Cocker song. Showed us that demo, and then I'd be responsible for saying, okay, who's going to puppeteer that, and then hiring somebody that would take care of the recording of that. So, and I believe that it was Steve and Dave Goals that puppeteered all the penguins for the orchestra, which is cool. I mean, it is a puppeteer performance, and that, that was the promise, I think, of, okay, here we're going to be at Disney, and then, we're going to have characters that get to be performed by these performers, so you really kind of get a sense of of them.
It was a way of like what we might do with a computer now, but you would record the performance of Jim doing Kermit, and then when you saw Kermit live in the park, it would be Jim, as close as you could get state of the art at the time.
Hey,
it would stay with that person.
What an interesting segue.
I'm full of them today.
Steve, thank you for that.
Let's
tee up that next video of Statler and Waldorf. Can we, Katie? Okay.
Hey, Waldorf, what are we doing here anyway?
Oh, it's one of those 3D movies.
Ah.
Put on your glasses, Statler. There.
Hey, look, Waldorf. There's Henry Kissinger.
That's not Henry Kissinger.
Sorry, lady.
Whoa! Yeah. Hey, you know that conductor's a penguin?
Well, it's not surprising. These Muppet shows are for the birds.
Oh!
It's starting.
Yeah.
So this has been our guide, I guess, to the program. Yeah.
So that was Jim and Richard Hunt, is that right?
That's Jim and Richard.
Yes.
I don't think they did the
Oh, Waldorf, it's that dumb bear again.
Yeah. Hey, Bear, you're not even funny in 3D.
Oh, no, not you guys. How did you get here?
We entered a contest.
Yeah, we lost.
Whoa!
Guys, this is my best 3D material. Why does the flower like to sing? Give up? Because they both like good rain. Waka waka. Thank you. Bye.
Now, this act's all washed up.
Yeah. Hey, Bear, throw in the towel.
Okay, better?
Hey, well, what's all the commotion about?
Well, you know what they say. Hair today, gone tomorrow.
This is a very moving moment.
Yeah, I wish they'd move it to Pittsburgh.
Okay, stop tape. Wow. There we go, take 4. 3, 2, 1.
We surrender! We surrender! What'd you think?
Do we have time to go to the bathroom before the next show?
We can't, you old fool. We're bolted to the seats.
Oh. Oh, well.
Okay, stop it. Good. You know, I wonder if we should...
Once again, on page 50.
page 15, Sweetums.
Josh, do you want to set this up, this Sweetums dialogue?
Oh, it's just Richard doing that.
This is just Richard doing Sweetums, is that right? Yeah, I think we should let Steve set it up.
Why? Well, you see,
I wasn't there.
there was Richard Hunt. And, no, Richard, I guess this is just a pre-record or a guide track of Richard doing Sweetums. I don't know if this ended up being what's used. Well, we'll find out in a minute, I guess, because you guys all recognize
You
it.
could just tell us if it was.
Yeah.
Believe you.
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, he probably just I'm thinking he laid down a guide track of Sweetums stuff for whoever was going to be performing Sweetums.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Went into the show, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Reaction. Ready? Page 15, Sweetums reaction.
Thanks.
Page 16, Sweetums dialogue.
Bean, where are you?
Hey, Bunny! Oh, Bunny! Where are you? Bunny! Oh, Bunny! Bunny ran away.
Down at the bottom.
Anybody seen a bunny?
And next page 17.
I don't see a bunny. Where? Where? Oh, nothing up there but a bunny. A bunny? Hey, Kermit! Kermit!
And then on page 19.
I'll save you, penguins!
What am I missing? Bottom of page 20. I'll save your penguin. Bottom.
Oh, the fireworks at the top. And, wow,
19. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Still rolling? We have 2 more lines.
Oh no! The fireworks!
Once more.
Oh no! The fireworks!
And then at the bottom.
Wow! You people have to see that film that's going on in here! What an ending!
Ready?
Wow.
3, 2, 1, action.
That just strikes me as such a wonderful metaphor for that creative nexus and handoff between the storytelling and technological brilliance of Walt Disney Imagineering approaching this project and the storytelling and technological brilliance of the Henson people, and just taking that together. And it's again a thing I never thought of, that Statler and Waldorf could perform essentially the rotoscope footage for the animatronic performance to be programmed off of.
Based upon, yeah.
Which is, just so cool to see those things, those
Yeah.
clips, and that they still survive thanks to our WDI alumni friends. And it just feels like a jumping off point for people who aren't me to talk about MuppetVision 3D things.
Okay. What are you thinking? Well, why don't we can these people ask us questions?
Yeah, I think so.
That
Do we
might
want
help us-
to
that
do
might
we want to
help us.
open this up?
Does anybody want to do that?
Yeah. There's a microphone right here, and Katie, can you? If it's a shareholder meeting, I'll answer the first 2 questions. Yes. We hear you. Figment and Dreamfinder are wonderful characters, and we would love to bring them back to our parks. And yes, you young man, you'd like to be an Imagineer. That's very exciting. We're going to get your name and send you an autographed book, and we'll put you in touch with some people. Question 3.
Hi, my name is Matthew. Thank you all for coming. So this question is actually for a friend of mine who couldn't make it. He had to fly back home, but he really wants to know, really badly why Sweetums appears in both the footage at the end where he's like, I want to know so badly why Sweetums appears in both the footage where the bricks blow up and, in person in the theater at the same time.
Do you want to know a reason why, or do you want to know whose fault that
Apparently Sweetums is in the explosion, but he's also in the theater. Like there's a double Sweetums.
Oh, there's a double Sweetums.
And
I'd forgotten that.
I don't know what happened.
That's a very interesting question. It sounds like a blooper. Yeah, that probably, there's one back there too.
I think it was a
Should we just ask Sweetums why he's in 2 places at once?
So I'm looking for a job.
Let me just say, anywhere else you go in and say that, you're not going to get the job.
You've also got like a day left to work.
And then,
Hey. Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I had to ask, so were there any other like memorable puppet mechanisms that maybe you made, Paul?
Let's see.
Well, over the years,
Puppet
certainly. Right?
over the years, or in the 3D movie?
Anywhere, really.
Okay. Well, I was just reminded when I saw that when all the soldiers shoot their little guns,
Oh, yeah.
I had to come up with a way to make a little fire come out. So I took little Christmas tree sockets, miniature Christmas tree sockets with little tubes on them and a little bit of black powder, and would load them in each of the muskets for each of the takes. And
Don't try this at home.
And the puppeteers controlled them. They had a switch.
Try this at home.
Don't try this at home. But that was a fun problem to solve, and to make all those guns fire. And also we were firing arrows from the soldiers as well.
That's right. I forgot how we did that.
Through the air.
You just did it. We just did it. People put glasses like safety
Oh, there
glasses.
they are.
So
That's
they
right,
get
okay.
hit in the head.
We just did
Oh,
it.
well, if people put safety glasses on, it was fine.
Yes. We took precautions.
Somewhat precautions. But you were always like, okay, what's he going to come up with?
And there were
There's
there
never
were
a question
mechanical
you ain't come up
soldiers
with
too.
it.
There were groups of 4.
Yeah.
I remember that marched together.
Oh, there they
Well,
are.
there we go. Look at that.
Hey.
There's more than 4.
It's like 12 or something.
Yeah. I remember them existing, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that to me seemed like a particularly chaotic scene to choreograph, and I mean, yes, there wasn't bubble fluid all over you, but
Yeah.
do you?
There was chaos.
Well, that's Jim Henson. And his
Okay,
brothers.
and on this was an
To
interesting.
control that chaos. That was,
Right.
to me, that's Jim Henson's
Yeah,
directing
yeah.
at its finest.
So in this particular photo, I had to figure out how to get Miss Piggy's dress to fall off. So, with the help of Jane Butnick, it was a bunch of needles and monofilament that we put the dress on and then held it together with the pins, and then
Did you yank the pins?
yanked the
Wow.
pins at a certain
Yeah.
point, and her dress falls off.
I don't know why. I was in Piggy for that. I don't know why. I remember being very uncomfortable. That's probably why I was in it.
That's probably
Frank
why
wouldn't do
Frank
it.
was not
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah.
And I'm just thinking, I was sitting down, and all I would have to do is go, Jane and Fred, we would go, I'd be ahead and say, we gotta get Piggy's dress to come
Yeah.
out.
How are we gonna do that?
Bye.
Well,
See you later.
And another thing I remember.
And we have the budget for it. We're
Right,
fine. Go.
right. I remember from seeing this picture, the biggest prop build on this movie was building these tubas, the sousaphones.
Wow.
Because we had to build Muppet scale sousaphones that were extremely lightweight, and then the one that has to fit over the head of the soldier and be puppeteered. And these were in the storyboard. I remember seeing the positions of the tubas were designated in the storyboards. So we built very lightweight tubas.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Then Mr. Whitmire.
Yeah.
What is, who is the hardest to puppeteer or most challenging to puppeteer, Waldo or Bean?
Waldo or Bean? Waldo was challenging because it was early technology to do something like that. And you may have seen pictures around online, but there was this rig was, I'm going to exaggerate. It felt like it was as long as these two tables, but like an arm with an elbow in the middle, and one end was attached to a surface, and I'm at the other end with the mouth control. And when you wanted him to fly around, you had to move this whole thing. That wasn't so hard, but doing anything small with him, like in that video you saw, Jim was asking me to say, don't you hate it when your nose runs? And trying to do that little push made him jump way far, So all of that was tough. But it also could most of it could be fixed when they took all of the data back to PDI, which was in California, and they, rendered it all. I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to remember. Did we see a fully rendered Waldo during this? Because on Jim Henson Hour, where he originated, we didn't.
No, I think we saw that kind of facsimile.
That kind of thing.
Because it wasn't, the technology wasn't
We couldn't
there
do the fully rendered. Yeah.
to see a fully rendered piece.
Yeah, I know back when we first started using Waldo was Jim Henson Hour, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, what I remember at that point is all we had was a wireframe of him,
Yes.
and everything was done after that in post. It took months and months and months. You probably do this on your laptop now, Thank you. Yeah.
I'm Sean. Thank you all for coming here today, and thank you for bringing us joy with this wonderful presentation. Thank you. I wanted to ask about Miss Piggy and her accident or supposed blooper. I don't know the full story, and I would love to hear it.
Her accident. Which one?
Well, when she flipped over during the I heard that wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it was a happy accident.
Yeah, I don't think that was intended, right? She wasn't supposed to flip
No.
and be bottom first toward camera.
But
it's physics, right?
You go with it.
Yeah.
It just happens,
It's a
right?
happy accident.
Yeah.
I remember that her head was armatured for the pull on the water skis, and I think it just flipped over back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not on purpose, but Rita said we got to use that one.
Yeah.
We're not doing this
We had
anymore.
one shot of
Thank
that.
you.
And,
Perfect.
You can wait 4 hours to dry it off.
For each of you, what was your reaction waiting to unveil this project to the general public compared to what you're feeling now as the curtain's going to close?
You guys go first. I got to think about it.
What am I feeling now? Well, it certainly was really emotional when we first opened it because we had worked so hard and we lost Jim, and to see that all these people came together. Look at me, I'm getting choked up.
Yeah.
And all these people that worked so hard and took
Yeah.
that vision and ran with it.
Yeah.
And see that come out, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. So it'll be interesting to see it tomorrow. I think we'll all be a little bit emotional about it. It's been there a long time, so, you can't complain. I mean, it's been up there for a very long time. Certainly, people have seen that piece of work of mine that I was a part of, not my work. Let me correct that. So it's nice, it had its run, it had a good run, so.
Always had the feeling it was there, wherever I was, I always thought, there's a movie running every day that I worked on. Which doesn't happen to a lot of people.
That's true.
It happens to no one.
And it was a very special time. And my son is here with me today, and he was 7 when the film opened, and he came down for the opening, and he's here with me for the closing. So it's very emotional for me as well.
Yeah. I think, well, you know what they say, hair today and gone tomorrow. No, you know, it's really interesting. I thought about it a little bit, and the thing that I walk away with is that Jim was always on to the next thing. We did a company meeting right after the Muppet Show closed, like, you know, everything, what are we going to do next? And a bunch of us youngsters were watching some of Jim's old specials from the 70s, like The Frog Prince and The MuppetVision, one night, 3 or 4 of us. Jim walked by this little room, it was in a hotel, where we were doing this. He said, "What are you guys doing?" And we said, "Oh, we're watching The Frog Prince. Would you want?" And I said, "You want to come watch it with us?" And he said, "No." He didn't care about the old stuff. I mean, not that he didn't care, but he didn't dwell on it. He didn't want to use it. He didn't want to cloud his mind with it to move on to the next thing. And so I know we don't have Jim to move on to the next thing, but at the same time, he would have moved so far beyond this particular project. Yes. And we can regret that it was the last thing he did, but in terms of the particular project, I don't think I feel a lot of regret about that.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, I'm sure it'll be a little emotional tomorrow, but it did its time.
Yeah. We were told in the beginning, it's probably going to go 3 to 5 years, you know, because most of our stuff changes out every 3 to 5 years. So it got a long run, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Felt like such a good one to end on. But I was just wondering, so it seemed like a really intense 15-day shoot. What was the continued involvement from any of y'all? Like was there any plan for like reshoots if something didn't end up working in like the final product, or was it? I just was curious what that looked like after the 15 days.
Rita wouldn't allow reshoots.
About trying to finish the thing.
Okay. Well, a lot happened after we shot it. Part of the great thing about it was that because it was a 3D movie, and we had to, Jim loved change, but he also had a vision for it.
Yeah.
And it was a 3D movie, so you had to have these long, relatively long takes. So the film itself, there weren't that many options to edit it. So when he passed, there wasn't that much you could really do. And we all had to finish it. So my experience was he passed, we managed to get Frank Oz to help finish it. There was a little tiny bit, and neither Steve was there. Apparently I have it in a calendar that we did a little bit of changes, but I don't have a script for it, and I don't know exactly what we changed. It was really minor, some stuff to do with Waldo, because we did go to Waldo. I had a note to do it.
Yeah.
But it really didn't change much from the original. So my experience was, we were in incredible, it was the movie, so we had kind of finished the movie. So we had to then do the pre-show. And so we worked really hard on that, and we had a lot of fun with that. But it was in really good hands.
The pre-show was shot after Jim passed, right?
The pre-show was shot in May.
Oh, that's right.
The pre-show was shot at like the 11th hour. Somehow I have in my calendar that we shot it on like May 11th of '91, and it opened, like, I don't even understand, maybe you can talk about it, because we had a soft opening for the show, and so we finished it like right away. It was edited and went out. So we knew what we were going to shoot. I mean, it was all done and planned, and we had the 3 monitors, and that there really wasn't much you could do there. You just had to like put those sections together, really, because of the way that was shot. But it was like I had my hats off to the Imagineers, because Jim laid out that vision, and everybody took it upon themselves to make it what it could be.
Yeah.
What it is now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
Sure. Please.
I want to tell you that the pre-show before the one we shot at the Carriage House was Ralph the dog singing
That's
Brown
right.
Yours Is Back, and that was a great album. So they needed to make something to fill the pre-show before they made the final one. And so it was just, hi guys.
Heather
That's
Henson.
Heather Henson, for people that don't know who she is.
Yeah, so I'm Heather Henson, Jim Henson's daughter. And so that recording he did, and it was just Ralph the Dog playing the piano and singing my dad's favorite Ralph the Dog songs. And so it was things like Cobblestone Pie and Halfway Down the Stairs. It was like really, really sweet. And it was just him playing the piano. Do you guys remember how that happened? 'Cause I don't know how it happened.
I don't. It's like, I think it was, we had to do something better.
Yeah,
you know,
probably
we just had to
he
go.
had to do it, and it was fast, and he had it. I don't know how it happened, but it was a great pre-show before the fancier pre-show.
Yeah, I remember it because he had me do the hands, and it was just, it's one of my favorite things that I ever worked on, because it was just Jim and I, and I'm like this, and he's doing Rolf, and we're just spending the day together. And I feel like we shot it, I want to say that was in a big space, so it wouldn't have been at the New York studio. It was like maybe, I don't know where it was.
So not the Carriage House.
It was this little tiny thing where we were, but it was, I remember it being a huge room, and there was this little tiny thing set up in there, you know. Yeah, very cool. Yeah,
We
glad you
did the
brought that up.
pre-show at the Carriage House.
Yeah, the pre-show was shot at the Carriage
House because we were all squished in there.
Yeah, the other one, when there were 3 cameras, we were in there.
3 cameras, 3 monitors.
Yeah, running between them.
And there was a whole thing of how far was the camera to the
Yeah.
monitors, and
Judging the space between the 2 cameras so you could run in and out properly.
Yeah.
So did you have 3
very
puppeteers
tricky.
perform Gonzo? How
No.
did you do that?
We had 2, I think, we've come up with.
Dave, this is how great Dave Goles is, because he did his character that many times so that it's an exact performance, except for when Gonzo comes in, and I was talking to Steve about it, and I think it was Steve.
Yeah, I probably did the third
when
one.
the character
Walked
comes
over.
in to help him get back up on his feet.
Yeah.
So that's that. Pretty
I'm
interesting.
glad you brought up the Ralph thing. That was a great moment.
Wow, I don't know about
Yeah.
that. I don't remember.
Well, Fred, Rita, Steve, thank you so much for what you've given us by way of creativity and execution, and most importantly, your time today coming here to talk about those memories and to talk about MuppetVision 3D and the magic that it is. So thank you.
Thanks, thank you. Thank you.